What's the deal? What's the deal? PolitiKan the podcast. We back again. Here with your boy, Kalum Vaughns, aka Dank Sinatra, here at Riverside Studios, man, getting it in. If you haven't already, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Go ahead and mash that, man. Make sure you get the notifications whenever we drop the new pod. We live every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Periscope. We on all music platforms, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, man. We everywhere, man. So we gotta bring in the resident Laker fan, man, so he could talk his bullshit because he didn't want to appear on no show since the Lakers got eliminated. But all of a sudden, when the Clippers are on the ropes, here come all the Laker fans, with all they things to say, man. What's the deal, Alvin? How you been?
I'm good, man. How about you?
Man, I've been better, man. The Clippers ain't never been here. My anxiety bad, man. They fucking with my feelings, man. Like, they playing with my emotions. They got to get it together. So were you watching this game, man?
I was watching it. I was watching it at the edge of my bed.
Terrible.
Very excited. I thought it was a good game. It was high intensity. It was a well thought out game. The ending, though, that was just historic.
So playoff P, I don't even know if we can call him that, man. Way off P, goes to the line and misses 2 free throws. He hasn't missed 2 free throws but once this season where he missed both free throws. He goes to the line. When he misses the first free throw, this nigga sitting there and he's dribbling and he's dribbling and he's dribbling. And I'm like, why this nigga taking 55 dribbles? But then next thing you know, you look up and way off P bricks that shit, man. Got that shit out of here. What's the deal, y'all?
Daddy's home.
Be tapping in on his Clippers, man. Way off P, man. How y'all feel about the Clippers now? And has Paul George basically lost his all-star status? Is he even really in the conversation for being a superstar anymore at this point?
I can't let y'all jump in first since he's tardy to the party on CPT time and all that good stuff. But I'll say it like this. I thought, and this isn't even me being a Laker fan and being a Clipper hater, I don't think anybody looked at the way he landed on that foul. I felt like he tried to sell the foul, and that actually opened up his body to take an unorthodox fall. And if you look, he put his right hand back, and he landed in a way that it looks like it kind of like messed up his shoulder a little bit. You're not going to talk about it. I'm pretty sure if you go back and watch his interview, he will say something about it. I didn't watch it. I kind of just jumped around laughing. But not that he got hurt, but the fact that he missed both free throws. But when you look at the way he was dribbling, he was trying to get that feeling back in his arm because it must have either had a stinger or it was like, maybe a little bit of an injury. And so he missed that first one. It was short. The second one, if you watch his arm like jerk, like he does this little thing like this at the end. He normally doesn't do that. This shot is very fluent, very fluent. He kind of like pushed the ball, like as if he was afraid that it wasn't going to make it there. And that's why it hit the back of the rim the way it did. And you saw the way he reacted. You saw how he walked away to the bench. I mean, things happen to good players all the time. It's just unfortunate that it had to happen with the Clippers.
Okay, yeah, listen. So my kids, right? They watch this show. It's called what's it? Wally Kazam, right? Shout out to Wally Kazam. And on the show, there's Bob Goblin, his best friend. She's a witch, right? And she rides around on a broom, right? And on that broom, when she put a spell on Bob Goblin, she told him, sweeper, sweeper. You get what I'm saying? Sweeper, sweeper. Broom, sweeper, Clippers, sweeper, sweeper.
Stop
it's coming. It's sweeper. I said it on the last. I said it on the last podcast, and I'm saying it on this one. Y'all weren't gonna get past Phoenix in the first place unless y'all had Kawhi. The only reason why y'all got past Dallas is because of Kawhi. Like you got past Utah because of Kawhi. Now you gotta rely on Paul George, and Paul George is not that guy. He's not that guy. He's a good role player. And when I say role player, I'm not talking about like a bench role player. He's a good star on your team. He's a good star to have. Paul George will get you 20-something points. He will do what he has to do. But Paul George is no longer that guy. He lost that I'm that guy when he left the Pacers. He wasn't that guy in OKC, and he ain't that guy now. I'm sorry, Clippers. It looks like it's going to be Phoenix. I mean, if you guys lose the next game, it's a done deal. I'm just saying. Two free throws don't really matter because he still had time to make up for it. But at the end of the day.
So do you think those 2 free throws affects his legacy? Like, can he no longer be mentioned as a superstar? You know, that's the question. Is he downgraded? Like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons. After this, everybody's looking at Ben Simmons as if he's downgraded. He's no longer an all-star. He's a regular player. Like Dwight Howard, was once, and he's downgraded to just a regular player now.
No.
So this is what we're talking about with Paul George.
Look, Kalum, first, Dwight Howard's on like the tail end of his career. Like he's a real life role player off the bench if necessary because, he's 30 plus. When you look at the fact that Paul George has been an all-star for majority of his career, if you look at what he's done in each of the teams he's played for, he's exactly what y'all said. He's a good star he's a Robin, right? The one thing, though, that I think most Clipper fans will not acknowledge is that the moment Kawhi Leonard got injured, do you know who stepped up more than Paul George?
Man.
Reggie Jackson.
Oh, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson took over that third quarter and fourth quarter and then also led majority of that first half of Game 7. But Man showed up and had the best game of his life, not of his NBA career, but of his life. Then when you find out after the fact that he comes from a humble beginning, 1% battery, phone calls type of deal, like all of that is so humbling, right? So you think about it. Paul George had his 24 with I think 16 or 17 rebounds, which everybody ranted and raved about, but he went 10 for 26 from the field. I mean, I'm not in the NBA, so I can't say nothing to nobody about what my shooting percentage would be. Kalum, you've seen it for firsthand. Like, we whatever. I had better games after you left, but it's just, I'm saying, like, the fact of the matter is like we're seeing that dog isn't in every player, and sometimes not everyone can rise to the occasion. And right now we're seeing that, like, some of these kids who really are like real life humble where they have a hard time looking in the camera's eyes, those are the ones that are showing up in the playoffs right now. Paul George has been consistent. It's just there's no reason to keep giving them all these crazy names until you win something. Like, I thought that was the thing.
It's different though because Paul George has been doing it, but like Tim Hardaway Jr. When Tim Hardaway Jr. was like the Robin, it was like a different fire. It was like a different excitement.
But for who though? But when was he? Who was his Batman?
I think with Paul George, everybody's praying for his downfall. So every time he does something good, they just like, okay, he gets to live another 2 minutes.
Paul George. I
don't know about that.
Paul George's stats is no different than what Derrick Rose was doing with the Knicks in the playoffs.
No.
Whoa. No. You ain't getting off of this one. Yeah, I'll bring my boy back up in this. Derrick Rose. Paul George's stats is the same as Derrick Rose. Not the same, but very, very similar to Derrick Rose's. So I would like to say if we're considering Paul George right now all-star for his team, Derrick Rose was an all-star for the Knicks. Just saying. But so what I'm saying is just the same thing D Rose was doing for the Knicks, Paul George is doing. He's a good role player. Derrick Rose is not a bench role player. He ain't like Luke Kennard. That if it wasn't for him, you guys wouldn't even be in the game. First and foremost, but he's not a Luke Kennard. But Paul George is not the guy, and it's okay. He's not the guy.
So do you think that Kawhi is gonna leave now?
Yeah. I wore my Willie Beeman jersey to be sarcastic because he's gonna bounce to a new team. He might end up going to the Celtics. I'll be honest with you. He might go to. I mean, it's not Mike. I put money on it right now. He goes back east. There is nothing for him in the West. He can do all kind of minutes restrictions and sit and all that good stuff on the East because there's no competition over there. You go to a juggernaut, get rid of him. Like, you could switch him and Ben Simmons. You know what I mean? Like, he can go anywhere, and he's a free agent, 2-time NBA champion. He can do what he wants, how he wants, and he's not going to stay in LA.
Hey,
and I don't see him coming to the Lakers either.
Hey, listen, Kawhi. Let me tell you something, Kawhi. Let me tell you something. If D Rose re-signed with the Knicks, guess who got that salary cap to give you that money, bro? Only team in the NBA that got enough salary cap to get 2 All-Stars.
Probably OKC though, because they got a lot of draft picks.
He gonna go to OKC.
Nobody going to Oklahoma City, and they're not a draw. They're not a big enough market to get anybody like Kawhi.
New York.
They got Kemba.
That's why they're getting draft picks, because they know that they're gonna have to. Whoever the star is gonna have to be in the draft. And they're going to just have to give him the supermax and hope that he stay there if they get 2-3 people like the Knicks did.
Come to New York.
So the draft lottery was Tuesday night, and the Detroit Pistons won the number 1 overall selection. So once again, tanking has prevailed, even with the new lottery system. Houston got number 2. So tanking looks like the way out, man. So they keep trying to change the system to stop teams from tanking and being competitive. But when it works, man, how y'all feel about this Detroit with the number 1 all selection and the draft picks like Jalen Green is personally my pick. What's y'all thoughts on Detroit? And y'all think that with this number 1 pick, are they gonna actually be better, or are they going to need like 5 of these to actually make a difference?
Well, I would say when it comes to the Detroit Pistons, the Detroit Pistons is not in a category of tanking, because the Detroit Pistons, which I was forced to watch, they have not been good for the last 2 years. Well, my boy D Rose is on it. I got to keep putting that out there. But the Pistons haven't been good for a while now, so they didn't tank. Now, the Rockets. Let's talk about the Rockets right quick. Listen, the league was already effed up. It was all messed up when you can trade James Harden, a superstar, for like Skittles. You traded him to the Brooklyn Nets for Skittles. You didn't get no all-star in between. You got absolutely nothing. So you knew the system, just like the government system, is all messed up once you're able to trade James Harden. And the Nets got James Harden and did nothing with him, by the way. Nets did nothing. Just wanted to throw that out there. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Nobody knows. So tanking, you can take nowadays. They were tanking. They did it on purpose. The Rockets did it, but I would say with the Pistons didn't tank. They've been sucking for a while.
That's exactly where I was going to go with it. Considering that Pistons has been trash for years, I mean, they're going to make some noise with, I won't lie. they might have an opportunity to at least go like the play in next year, since they're looking like they're going to keep that forever. The East is weak, so they might be able to get like 11th or 10th seed and maybe get a buy-in or the little play-in game. It seemed more or less like he's going to be a trade bait. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season. You never know. I mean, realistically, the East just sucks. I don't know why it sounds so bad saying it like this, but the East sucks. So anybody that's going to the East is always going to look to try to make it to Milwaukee, Phoenix, or Milwaukee, Philly, maybe, Brooklyn. But I don't think they're going to get anybody else because their cap space is going to be out of control. And then when you look at Houston, if they can get a big man to go well with John Wall, maybe. But their whole tanking thing, they just were trash. Like they let go of Boogie Cousins, and he would have been a great fit with John Wall. Why they let him go? Who knows? They don't care. You know what I mean? Like most of these franchises, they don't have anything to fight for anymore. Right? They don't see themselves making it past anything. So what's the point?
And on that note, with the them getting rid of Boogie Cousins, the new team that has Boogie Cousins don't even play him. So that's another reason why they suck. And they're about to get swept.
No, he was in the game. Hey,
he been getting 10, 11. He's been getting 10, 11 minutes. So as the playoffs have been going forward, but is he the old Boogie? Does he deserve a start? I don't know.
Y'all need all the firepower. Y'all need all the veteran experience. Y'all need all the talents y'all got right now.
Hey,
Ty Lue got out coached for sure.
No, he
Monty
didn't.
Williams out coached him.
No.
Sure.
Hey, that play was
look. I'll tell you guys exactly what happened. Patrick Beverley is out of control. It's not that just his antics are wild and crazy or whatever. He thinks he knows the game more than Tyronn Lue, right? So every time something controversial happened, he sparked the whole, hey, review it. Like everything happened because of Patrick Beverley from the arm. Like, come on now. Devin Booker grabbed his armpit low key, and his forearm hit his mouth. His mouth should have still been bleeding from when they hit heads anyway. So just because he showed blood doesn't mean he got it was an actual flagrant foul or anything like that. Everything had to do with him. Tyronn Lue lost control of the game, and that's why it went the way it went. It wasn't that he was out coached. I mean, if they didn't review the play, Monty Williams wouldn't be able to say like, okay, look, if the play goes the way it's supposed to go, just dunk it. Like that's all we got to do. They would have been able to talk. It would have been to Devin Booker. He would have missed it. It would have been 1-1 series. But if free throws weren't missed, that play would never have happened.
Yeah, that is true. That is
true.
It's
the better team.
So let's get to the NFL, man. So it came out the other day. Carl Nassib, I don't know if I'm spelling his name right, but he comes out as a gay man in the macho NFL. Do you think that he's ruining the team chemistry? Do you think that this is going to be taken well in the locker room? How well received would this be as far as him coming out, especially with such a macho team like the Raiders and a franchise like the Raiders that's known for their, brute force and their antics and beating you with the ground and pound and the defense? How would this be taken by the league? Do you think that this is going to fuck up the locker room?
I'm going first on this one, y'all. I'm sorry. Because I'm a diehard Raider fan from day one just because I was born into it. And I think that everyone's embraced it because of how much times have changed and the fact that the Raiders aren't from Oakland anymore. They talked about how instantly his jersey went to number one as far as in sales in 2 days or whatever once he announced that he was, openly gay or whatnot. And I think it's because everyone's so much more accepting of everything because of everything in the world. And then also being from Vegas. So you're not going to get any blowback from, any sexual orientation in Vegas. So I think it's not going to really hurt the team. It's probably going to help fans. It's probably going to help sales. It's probably going to help us get maybe a little bit more support. But I know in the locker room, I mean, as an athlete, I feel like it's probably going to be a little bit awkward, not because everybody's going to be homophobic, but is this going to be like, hey, bro, so do I have to worry about you checking me out because you want what I got, or are you just checking me out like everybody's just curious? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not 24-hour fitness anymore where you walking around with a towel going, I hope nobody's looking at me. Now it's like, you know, I don't know if he's gonna be outcast or whatever, but it could end up becoming an issue where he's traded either mid-season or at the very, very end of the season, but the very first person off the roster type of deal.
But when you go that route, if you say something like that, then don't you think that the same thing happened with Michael Sam? Well, all of a sudden he got traded, then he got cut, and then he never found his way back into the league. But Michael Sam's announcement was a lot different because when Michael Sam got drafted and we seen him kiss his partner live at the NFL draft, and then when it cuts back to the announcers, everybody has like a minute of silence because nobody didn't want to say the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like,
I remember that.
It was real. Like
Yeah.
he tongued his partner down live on the NFL draft. And we didn't know how to respond. We were kind of like, now at this point, I think that, like you said, Alvin, things are a lot different now. I think that it would be received differently because as a straight man, I have seen public affection between gay men and lesbians. So now It's not as shocking as it was then because we never seen any PDA as far as coming from the gay community. They basically did that behind closed doors. But I have seen gay couples kissing. So now it wouldn't be as like menacing or like shocking as it was when Michael Sam did it. So I don't think that he's going to get, but then at the same time, if he does get cut or he's out of the league in the next 2 years, is his gripe going to be, oh, because I was a gay man, they basically pushed me out the league?
Yeah, I think I don't really know much about the Raiders because it's Seahawk Nation over here. So I don't even know who the guy really is. If he's a good player, at the end of the day, your game talks for itself. If you a good player, gay, trans, straight, whatever you are, whatever you want to be, him, her, like. If your game, if you balling, you balling. You ain't going nowhere. Like that's the thing about it. And the thing with the Sam guy, it was more. I guess people were saying it was more like a show. So therefore, they were like, "Nah, we don't want that." Why you think Ocho Cinco couldn't get back into the league? The league was like, "Nah, man." Well, that was other reasons too. But they're like, nah, man, like we don't need that kind of distraction. So if he just comes in, does his job or whatever, at the end of the day, the NFL locker room, the NFL, it's a job, just like we got jobs that we got to do. And sometimes you got to deal with people that like the same sex. And sometimes you may have to deal with somebody that is the same sex as you, but that is working on being the opposite sex of you, so you just got to learn to work with it. And if he goes out and does his job, don't matter if he's gay, straight, or anything, just do your job. Now, if you become a distraction in the locker room, now you got a target on your back.
I think that's the part of it that's going to be unavoidable.
Well,
as far as the public, as far as the organization, we don't even know why this is news. You know what I'm saying at this point? But in the locker room, we're not in these locker rooms, and these locker rooms are tight knit, and it's a certain
job security.
It's a certain stigma that goes around with gay dudes, man, and I don't know how that's gonna go towards the locker room. Now, if he's still accepted and reports come out that, that's just going to show how progressive this world is. But until, what I'm saying, until we get those reports and we actually see how this goes, what I'm saying, let's stay optimistic. So
Well, no,
go ahead.
My bad, Cam. No, I was kind of feeling what y'all said as far as like it could have even been job security, because when it came out, it's not like he said it during Pride Month, right? Is it still Pride Month right now?
Yes, it
Pride
is.
Month. So yeah, so my fault. Apologies to anyone that is a part of that. It's almost like a not even a call for attention, but maybe like a last line of hope, because he's already in the NFL and he's already playing for the Raiders. You know what I mean? It's not like he just got drafted. So maybe something on the other end that we don't know was a factor into him throwing that card out. Because, it's a card. Just like if, for example, me being light-skinned, if I was like half Asian or something like that, considering what's going on with Asian hate right now, and I throw that out there like, hey, I'm actually part Oriental, and I would feel like it's discriminative, or like you're discriminating against me for letting me go because of this and that, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, well, I don't want to be politically incorrect, and let me go ahead and let you stay for longer than what we need you for. Because everybody jumped on his side, from J.J. Watt to I don't really know who else said anything other than J.J. Watt, to be honest with you. He's very controversial in his own way, so maybe this is a plea for help more so than it is an actual like, just let me know, like letting everyone know who I am, because that's still private. Like, why are you bringing the public into your private life when it doesn't necessarily affect what you're doing on the field with your job, as you said?
Because
I would say, now I'm just gonna play the advocate on it. You know what I'm saying? See it for both sides. Why, if I was that guy, right? Why, like I said, I don't know how good of a player he is. Let's say he's a sucky player and he's about to be on his way out of the NFL. Hey, let me play my card, right? Let me say that I'm gay, right? Come out with it. Let the world know I'm gay. Now, when the Raiders, you get rid of them, you already know how the pride community get down. Oh, you getting rid of one of ours? Oh, no. Why are you getting rid of him? Now, if you get rid of him, if it's like, if his numbers are better than, let's say, even half the league, or like if he's just an average player for the rest of this year, right? And they get rid of him, they could come out and be like, yo, you got rid of him because he came out that he was gay. That's why you got rid of him. Because look at everybody else in the league. I don't even know what position he plays. But like, so, a little job security. I wish I can do that.
That's crazy. So like, it is Pride Month, man. And it's been all type of festivals and parades going up all through the nation. And then there's an event scheduled this weekend in Seattle, and it's for the Black and Brown LGBTQ community. And they said that they are going to charge the white attendees a $50 reparation fee.
Is it wrong to laugh? Is it wrong to laugh?
I mean, it's getting real out here.
Hey,
the LG community, they don't play. Them niggas don't play no games, bro. And they ain't scared to do it. Like a black party will be scared to put something out like this. But the LGBT community don't give a fuck. Like, they straight up say, if you white, you gonna pay a reparations fee.
Look,
is this gonna become a thing now?
I don't know if this is possible. Okay. Look, first off, I'm more blown away that no one said anything about Pride Month and Juneteenth being in the same month. Right? That just is ironic. Like, there's another 11 months that we can use for Pride Month, but I don't know what significance it is in June for them to have June as Pride Month. And I don't mean them in a way of being disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, it's just ironic. So when you say Black and Brown getting free, but then $50 for white, so now it's like completely flipping, like turning the pages and turning everything around. So it's like, okay, so Juneteenth is now official federal holiday. So you white folks are gonna have to pay to come and deal with anything we got going on. Like that's crazy. Like that is like crazy. I don't know if I'm mad or if I'm like shocked, anxious. Maybe I'm nervous. I think I'm nervous. I think because they have no filter and they will do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, that this might create some type of like unnecessary uproar that we'll see about or hear about fairly soon. Because $50 is a lot of money for a ticket. I mean, you don't even know what the hell you're about to get into.
Hey, you gotta give it up for him. You gotta give it up. You got to. That's you gotta give it up for him. The community, LGBTQIA, they came out and was like, yo, like they're showing more balls than us as a community. Like come on now. My fellow white people have stole the culture and they have made it their own for so many years. They steal things, you know what I'm saying? And they do it for a lot of stuff, right? And
fact.
the pride community came out and was like, we're standing up and we're charging you. And we may be charging you because they just passed the Juneteenth, so we're gonna charge you for it. Or they came, like they had a sit down and got together in Seattle. Shout out to Seattle, and they got together and was like, okay, yo, let's charge these white folks. Okay, we all in agreement. Okay, let's get it. We need to do stuff like that. Why don't we do that as a black community? Why aren't we getting together and being like, no, let's stand up for this? If we start doing some stuff like they doing, maybe we get some bills passed instead of getting a holiday that really don't mean nothing to us. Because Juneteenth isn't Juneteenth all about? It was really about Texas being the last state to free people.
Mm-hmm.
So when we celebrate Juneteenth, correct me if I'm wrong, Kalum, but if we celebrate Juneteenth, all we really doing is celebrating Texas, right? Like getting their freedom.
We're celebrating the fact that we were set free and that we weren't notified until Juneteenth, and it's Juneteenth because it's no exact date. But we had already won the war and we were already free, and then they kept us working on not knowing that we were free people for like another year.
And I believe it was out of, I think it was Lincoln. I believe it was out of his mouth that he was saying that if he can keep it how it is and keep us as slaves, then he would.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't do that. So shout out to the pride community stepping up and charging $50. Like $50. They ain't giving you like $10. No, we charging you $50. Now I want to know what you're going to do with that money after.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to invest that money back into? I would challenge them. That money that you charge the white people, the $50 that you charge the white people that show up, I will challenge you to take that money and pour it back into the black and brown community.
All right, man. So let's get to this politics, man. So COVID wins again, man, as all the lazy people and all the scammers continue to win throughout this COVID-19. So as we come out the back here, Governor Newsome comes out and promises that the state will pay all past due rent accumulated during COVID-19. So Governor Newsome, so all these people that were out
this whole time. Oh my god!
So he's
wait. You gotta break that down for my slow mind right quick.
So let's say COVID hit and you didn't pay your rent, and now because of COVID, it was a special order where they can't evict you. So now for this year and a half, 2 years, you have not paid no rent. So now that COVID is the end of COVID, now those restrictions are being lifted, and you're going to be able to evict those people for rent. So now Governor Newsome is coming out and saying that the state of California will pay people's back rent so that they don't get evicted, so that we don't have thousands of people getting evicted within the next month as we come out the back of this COVID. So he is promising that California will pay all these people that ain't been paying their bills.
But how will they know? For me, first and foremost, I'm just thinking because I rent. I'm like, do I talk to my landlord and say, hey, you want to make a few $1,000s on the side? Let's say that you did, like, I didn't pay this last year and a half. You know what I'm saying? I give you 30%. Let me keep 70. I paid you. Let me get my money. Like, let me get my money for this guy. Like, let me get it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, so now we're just going to throw being responsible completely out the fucking window. So from SBA to PPP, now you can't, now you're going to pay your fucking mortgage too or your rent. I mean, dude, this is ridiculous. And it's only happening in California, I see. It's not happening nowhere else. So that means it's really going to be an uproar with everybody with guns saying, oh, man, I'm so tired of paying all these additional taxes because all these poor folks keep taking advantage of us. They're going to sit up here and start going after us on some purge type shit. Not even coming after us for real money. They're going to come for women and sneakers. I'm being sarcastic, but you know what I mean for real. Like, that's bullshit. I'm so mad. I paid all my bills, y'all. I was paying every time.
You was a sucker.
Night walking and shit, paying my bills.
Hey, I feel you, man. I got last year during this pandemic, man. Your boy got laid off of my 5-year job. I got laid off. And when I got laid off, I had to get it out the mud. I had a mortgage I still had to pay. I still had to pay my mortgage. I still had to pay. I still got to keep the lights on, food in my family's mouth, and everything like that. So what I had to do, I had to get it out the mud, figure out, use my talents, photography, motivational speaking, use what I got, creating flyers for people to pay my mortgage every month, which I did, right? Never late. So you telling me getting out of the mud, doing what I got to do, which Mr. Newsome, let me talk to you right quick. Hey, I don't know if it's you or Smoking Joe, but when January hit, y'all stopped giving your boy his EDD check. Y'all only gave it to me for 6 months. And within that 6 months, you wasn't giving me enough to pay my mortgage or anything like that. It did not accumulate to what I was making at my other job. You know what I'm saying? So you telling me I'm getting it out of the mud, and now you gonna pay for everybody else. Now let me get this right. How are you gonna pay for everybody else? See, now your boy got a job, right? Kalum, can I talk to you right quick, Kalum? I'm gonna be missing in action in some of these Wednesdays because I gotta go work at a job, right? So now that I got a new job and I gotta go work on Wednesdays and work my way back up so I don't have to work on Wednesdays, right? Now that I gotta work at a new job, I'm about to get taxed more so I can pay for somebody that didn't get it out the mud. Okay.
Wow, man. I don't even know. And people don't understand that this is tax dollars. So next year, all the stimulus money and all this shit, it's gonna come out your ass.
Yes,
so
sir.
When you're getting a $500 paycheck, and then you turn around and they done took 197 of your dollars out of your 500 before you even touch it, and you wondering like, how the fuck am I supposed to survive when they taking my money before I even touch it? It's gonna be a wrap, man. This is the game. They're spending the money, they printing it, they're handing it out, and they're hoping that niggas go spend up all the money and put it back into the white people pockets. And guess what we're doing? Exactly.
Charging. That's why Seattle's charging them $50.
Yeah.
Because they do it to us all day and night.
Yeah.
It don't even matter. That shit ridiculous. So Joe Biden, Mr. Hermit Crab, Mr. Never See This Thing in Nowhere, Mr. Never Do Shit but write executive orders for everybody but black people. This nigga comes out and he says that he has a new plan. He said that he is set to announce a gun crime prevention and public safety strategy because of all the mass shootings that has occurred since he has taken presidency, which is probably now in the 300-400s in the 8 months that he's taken presidency. So it'll take this nigga 8 months to see record number of mass shootings happen for him to start to come up with a plan. He didn't come out and say, here's the plan. He said, hey, we're coming up with a plan. He didn't even announce the plan. He announced the fact that they're coming up with a fucking plan. It took you fucking 8 months and fucking 500 mass killings to come up with a plan, nigga? And then you don't even got the plan? What the fuck is that? You're announcing that you're coming up with a plan. You're the fucking president. Isn't that your
Damage
job?
control.
A fucking plan? You're just come. So you're telling us you announced that you're finally gonna do your job.
No, he's not announcing that he's going to do his job. He's just giving us something to talk about because they've been talking about population control for how long now anyway. COVID was proof that they were trying to make sure a certain amount of people were going to stick around longer than what they should, or not as long as they should, my bad. Because all these additional vaccines that everyone had to take to start doing things that they shouldn't even have to do yet if the pandemic was still as contagious, or not the pandemic, but the COVID-19 was still as contagious and still as strong as it's ever been, and all this other BS. Bro, all of this is so that we talk like we talk and nothing actually changes. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I'm reading it as you're saying it, and I'm like, what? No way. So they're talking about a task force the same way last year, this time, I sat down on a Zoom meeting at Palmdale City Hall with the Mayor Hoffbauer. And he was like, we want you guys to be our task force to help create better changes in the community. And we said, sir, we're already the task force. We're coming at you saying, what the fuck are you waiting on? So this is the same shit he's basically saying that he's about to create, which there's already hundreds of thousands of people trying to make their communities better and make the world a better place. Come on now. He's too old. This is a ploy. If we have, like, okay, I know this is gonna come out of left field, but if we have like real life sex dolls, right? This man can real life be a robot, and he could just be talking out the side of his ass because he ain't even a real person. If somebody's controlling him from behind the scenes, I'm just saying, like, shit.
Hey, listen, hey, Kalum, put Smoking Joe up there. Put Smoking Joe up there. Look at that face. Look at that face.
He's gonna roast him.
like, look at him. Look at. Is that a believable man right there? Everybody that's watching this, I just want to ask you.
But why is only half of his face smiling like the Joker? Did he have a stroke?
Probably so.
I hope not, Smoking Joe. Let me talk to you right quick, Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe. See, they've been talking about these gun laws for a cool minute, Smoking Joe. And you know what the gun laws is going to do? Maybe the panel can help me out with this. How many criminals are people that are, let's say, robbing a bank, or robbing your grandma, or robbing you? How many of them are going to a gun store and registering for a gun? I don't know many. I don't know. I'm not a criminal, but I know I'm smart enough. If I wanted to go rob some folks, I'm smart enough to not go get a registered gun. Matter of fact, you're scratching off the serial number, right? Yeah. Something. So if you doing all that, you gonna pass because somewhere in it, I know, Joe, you in the process. You haven't even started it yet. So, but in your process, you're gonna come back to the people and go like, we're going to have tougher laws for people to get guns. And then we're gonna be like, hey, mayor, let's go get a gun. Sorry, you can't go get a gun, sir. Wait, I can't get a gun? No, you can't get a gun. I walk away with no gun, right? And then old buddy off the street that got one, that he found one on the ground, come and rob me. And it'll be like, why didn't you have a gun? I couldn't go get one. Smoking Joe passed this law, blah, 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 that made it hard for U.S. citizens to get guns, but made it easier for criminals to go. Oh my God, they so stupid.
I think that it's going to be less about restricting people to get guns because they've been doing that for years. I think they're trying to find a way to confiscate guns, to go and take guns from people. And that's some shit that they have never done, that they have never created. And it's going to say, okay, well, you're registered and you got these guns, but now you fall under this shit. So to prevent you on some, what was that shit? That movie where you did pre-murder and they arrested you before they did the murder?
What is it?
The Purge.
Nah, it wasn't The Purge. It was some crazy ass movie.
Attempted murder. Premeditated murder.
I don't know I forgot the name of that. Total Recall.
There you go.
Total Recall. And in Total Recall, they had a recall machine and you would go and it would show somebody's intention for 24 hours. And in those 24 hours, they would show that you were intending to kill somebody. And they would come and arrest you before you do the murder, for murder, before you did it. So you would go to jail for murder because you had intentions to murder. And the machine caught it and saw that you was about to murder somebody.
Hey, listen, on a small scale, robbers and criminals go, they're about to make it a lot easier for us to rob some folks because they're going to be taking guns away. And guess what? They ain't going to be able to shoot back at us. Right? On the larger scale, you know what that really makes it easier for? Ooh, that martial law, baby. It makes it easier for the martial law.
I think that they're less worried about us and worried about our children. They're worried about the 8-year-olds.
Yes.
Because they built this, and Alvin always has focusing on the future, so he knows they are not worried about us. They can't control us. Nope. But if they set these laws where in the next 10 years they can restrict the next black generation from ever getting their hands on guns, they're not even worried about us. They're worried about them kids. All these laws and all this shit that's being put in place, that shit ain't for us. Because whether they put it in place or not, we ain't gonna follow it. But these kids, they gonna if they grew up at 8 and this was the law, they gonna follow that law to the T. That's all they gonna know. So they ain't doing this shit for us. They're doing that shit for the kids.
Facts.
I gotta go ahead and I gotta piggyback on that one because I can tie in this with our last segment as far as with the Pride event. Mm-hmm. Why would whites have to pay? If you're talking about the kids, why would whites have to pay? Because the white community doesn't want their children being gay under any and all circumstances. We want to allow our kids to do that, then so be it. Because two of the same sex cannot reproduce under any and all circumstances. You can go and get artificially inseminated. You can go and adopt. But under no circumstances can two of the same sex procreate. So if you sit there and you allow only black and brown to put into their brain that all of this young thug female femininity that they try to put on all the males, and then the way they are programming the women to think they don't need men, you make all the black and brown believe that what is and what was will never be the same. They kill each other off because they're not procreating. Then the other side who's paying to do whatnot is telling their parents at home are letting them know the truth. So now while they're not going to do the same things that we're supposedly allowing to happen, then what happens in those 10 years when all these laws pass? It's worse for our kids than what we're going through now, because now our kids who are mixed, right? They're going to fall in so many different categories that if you're not pure in one direction, you're screwed for a long time. And I try to hold on to that because we was talking adult-wise. But since you said that whole future shit, you know, light bulb, bang, bang, there he goes, like it's Kevin Hart shit. It's all it's strategically put this way. Because if our kids grow up thinking it's not the way it was and it's going to be a different way, they're going to follow that to make sure they follow within guidelines so they don't mess up.
When we talk about the vaccination, and they talking about it sterilizing people, we already got 5 kids. Our generation already didn't have their kids for the most part. They're not trying to sterilize us. They're going to know that, hey, we don't care if the adults don't get, because eventually we're going to pass it where these kids have to get vaccinated to be in school. And then we're going to sterilize the next generation. And then guess what? It's not going to happen in the white communities or it's going to happen in these urban areas. And guess what? Then we're going to have in 10 years, we're going to have a white boom. And all of a sudden, because right now it's projected that like in the next 20 years, white people will no longer be the majority in America.
Right.
So this is their whole ploy so that they can keep this precious land that they deem their everything. They literally they went to war with each other. White people went to war. Britain and England went to war with British and England in America for America.
Yep.
White people have been warring over this land since the day one. Where did you think they got how did you break away from Britain and America and then Britain finance America for America to become what it is? You still did trade. How did you break away from Britain and become America, but then still do trade with the country you broke away from?
Because the resources that were already there that you took advantage of the people who were there that you lied to say throughout the history books weren't actually already there. It's all unfolding in front of our faces. It's just nobody saw people of our age range, which is 30 plus, to catch this, because we're supposed to be 56 years old telling our grandchildren these things as they're in the mix of a war that they have no idea and ammunition to try to fight in. But because we're right-minded, open-minded, you know what I'm saying, seeing it for what it is, playing chess, not checkers, it's easy. It's actually easy to see that everything is strategically placed at the children, because we don't have more than 50 plus years on this earth, and we're lucky. Mm-hmm. And if we consider to do what everyone considers is the black norm or the cultural norm, like Shannon Sharp lets everyone know on Fox, we smoke Black and Miles, we drink Hennessy, we eat greasy food. We ain't going nowhere but to the grave anyway, and we don't care if our kids end up with us on the way. But now you're starting to see a real life strategic ploy where it's like, okay, look, you guys know we got money set aside for you, right? Stop trying to be like them and just dibble dabble, play with it. They don't mind letting you in. They don't mind letting you in the culture. Play with the culture, then bounce. Don't get too incorporated. If you have a black kid with them, damn it, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. That shit's ridiculous, man.
Y'all speaking that fire, it was getting hot up here.
Y'all took his whole ass shirt off.
Taking my shirt off, it was getting too hot. I was getting dehydrated with all the facts y'all speaking over there.
Man, this shit it's getting wicked out here, man. It's real. It's real life out here, man, and it's really for the kids. So I think that we really need to. We need to stop trying to educate ourselves and really dump all our resources into the children in the future, because they're going to need it way more than we need it. And there's more black millionaires and ball players and shit than ever right now. And they're using their resources to be popular on Instagram. You got niggas like James Harden paying $100,000 for a fucking date. But then you got so many needy motherfucking kids that could have, you know what I'm saying, put clothes on their back or fed them for, you know what I'm saying, or help build a school or fix that gymnasium so that they can actually have some adequate equipment. There's just so much shit that is going on nowadays that, this is the new Babylon, man. When you look at in biblical terms, we're living in Babylon. America is Babylon, and it's anything goes around here, man. For real. So let's get some shout outs before we get up out of here.
Man, shout out to both of you gentlemen for always letting me be on the podcast and having my fun talking my shit. Shout out to the AV, both Palmville, Lancaster, Quartz Hill, Antelope Acres, Little Rock, Lake LA. Shout out to my kids for holding it down. They made Father's Day really exceptional. And then, as Kalum was saying so strategically, shout out to all you kids, because you are the future. That's why us right-minded adults are focused on you.
Yes. Shout out to Brand of Encouragement. Shout out to the hometown AV, Lancaster, Palmdale, stand up. Shout out to Focus on the Future. Shout out to the politician. Shout out to Man Things. Yo, listen. So I'm about to give everybody watching a little game. And this is a little game I'm going to give you, right? So this is how I got my wife. Y'all know she a little Latin spice and everything like that. So I was like, dang, I gotta approach her a little different, you know what I'm saying? I gotta come at her a little different. I was like, I don't know much Spanish or anything like that, so how can I be creative? So I walked up to her and I was like, ay, mami, do you work at Starbucks? Because I like you a latte.
A latte?
Oh my God.
This nigga is very tough.
You feel me on that? Hey, but on the last note though, I also told her, y'all can use this with your woman and everything like that. I told her, hey baby, listen, what has 40 teeth that holds back the Incredible Hulk? She was like, what? I was like, my zipper.
Shut your ass up. Y'all is the dumbest motherfucker, man. So I've been studying Steve Jobs. I like to study, the minds of influencers and people that just changed the world. Of course, Amazon is motherfuckers Apple is a motherfucker that changed the world for sure. So I've been studying Steve Jobs, man. And one thing he said that stuck with me is don't waste your time. You know what I'm saying? Living somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? Your time is limited. And that's just something that I really want to put out there is that don't let others influence what you feel like you should be doing. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to be alone. Because sometimes in that solace, when you're in that room by yourself, you find yourself, man. And that's real, man. They put you in the cage of the lion. Just because you don't try to eat the lion, don't mean the lion ain't gonna try to eat you. PolitiKan the podcast. We out.